with you some idea and opinion about how to put the student engagement through the screen. To start off our presentation today, I would love you guys please take a look for the slide, and there are two questions. One, what are some difficulty and challenges of teaching online? And second, what factors are the more important when teaching online? So please, may you guys all do my favor, take out your second device or copy the link that I based in the chat box and enter the code for poll everywhere and do the discussion for me. So I will send the link and the code over the chat box. So take a minute and copy and paste, and I can come over to poll everywhere and do the question number 1, the question number 2. So everybody see the link that I just sent, right? Okay. The code is a little bit weird with my full name and the letter T 426. So if you type the letter T46, you will enter the open-ending question that you can answer and sharing some opinion about some difficulty and challenges of teaching online. So far. So if you guys can see the link on the top of the slide, you can see the say pooleverywhere.com, right? And we just send over the code that my name and the letter T426 that I just resent in the chat box. Okay. All right, let me untick my screen because I got some black spot and you guys cannot see it clearly. Okay. Can everybody tune in yet?
Then can you stop sharing and share again?
Okay, thank you. Let me try it again. All right, maybe because the technical problem, it's hard for you to do the poll everywhere. So it's okay that can you help me to type some answers about difficulty and challenges of teaching online? All right, so it seems it does really not really work. So this is the way you are. Let me try. Oh. Yeah, so this is the slide that everybody can see. Okay, if the tuning doesn't work, so could you please just send some ideas about some challenges? Oh, here we go. There's a lot of answer here. All right, internet access and the student engaged to the class, very good. And keeping student engaged and student engagement, that's awesome. All right, manage the class, student short focus. So there's a lot of difficulties and challenge when you're teaching online. And based on some of your answers, I will do a little bit a survey and keep doing on the poll everywhere, and please help me to raise some percentage of the answers here. Back to the next slide. The internet is really slow in the computers. All right, the second one. So which factors among your factors are the more important when you're teaching online? They are class size, understanding or mastering the teaching application, motivate a student, mindfulness lesson, well-planned lesson. Yeah, sorry for the really slow internet connection, but basically all of your answers about some difficulty and challenges of the student when you're teaching online, you guys on focus about engagement and motivating the student. So I think that you all agree with somehow the motivate student during the class is really important. So that's the aim for our webinar today. Try to put the student engagement through the screen. And with that aim, our webinar today will have two parts. Part one will be the online class characteristics and some theory about student engagement. And part two will be some hands-on activity and technique, and how you can help the student engage a little bit when you are doing your teaching online. So my first part, a little bit theory, hope you guys don't get bored and stay tuned until the hands-on activity that will help you a little bit better, and with the help, try to support you better in your teaching. So let's move on a little bit about online teaching characteristics. I will do some theory about compare what different between the traditional and online learning and teaching. So this is the research I found out from the internet about some difficulties with students learn online and the traditional one. So you guys can see that basically with traditional learning, they are learned with the classic method. That means concentration and the classroom and school and facility that can see at school. But online teaching will be, they use internet and the students are very independent. They learn by themselves, they will got the time management, the skill by themselves. And traditional learning, the learning style will be independent, but they are study with their peer and the teachers and expert who deliver the lesson. But the online learning, the teacher not only an expert to deliver the content, but they also a coach, a mentor, a guide, and also a lead learner. So with some characteristics of online learning, what do a student, when they do the learning online, they need to have? If you join into Steve webinar the other day, last week, he mentioned a little bit about teacher, they need to got some technical skill. So do a student. They need to got some basic technical skill because they need to know how to access to the internet. They need to know how to access the platform of the app that you are doing online, help them to learn better. And also they need to get a good study environment. So do as a teacher need to find out a good place to teach, and students, they need to find a good place to study. With the really noisy and distraction environment that affects their learning, and it doesn't really work and help them better as a learner. And the third is that they need to repair their computer connect with the the peer of the world, so good connection. If they have the bad connection, they can see like black box in the screen, they cannot hear the teacher well, so the lesson won't be successful. And you try your best, but the student, they can see what you tried. So it really affects your lesson too. And they have to be really autonomous in their learning, and they have to be independent. Also, they need to get the time management skill. They will know what time they will study and what time they will do something else. And the last but not least will be engagement. So at the student side, that they have to motivate themselves to study. But as a teacher, when the student, they have a little bit, small level of the motivation, the teacher needs to do something to have the teacher to engage and to put the engagement. So our webinar today focus mostly with the A of a group with the young learners, so teenagers. So we will focus a little bit about what engagement is and how you can use some techniques or some activity that to put the engagement through the screen, online one, and help them to learn better. So before we move on some hands-on activity and technique, please share something on the screen or chat box with me about engagement. So what do you think about engagement? What is it? Yeah. Anyone, please say some idea about engagement. What do you think about engagement? What is it? And do you think it's important? So Lauren says something that engagement is using game and activity. And some people say getting student to talk. Yeah, nice. Motivate student, get their attention and focus. Color your screen. That's good. Willing to show their face, get interest, get student involved. Well, that's a lot of idea about engagement. But first of all, before we move on how to put the student engagement and how to have the student engage, I want you to take a look for the screen. So these are some researchers and educators that I found out from the definition of engagement. And you can see that engagement is the paramount of learning process. That means they play the most important role in the whole learning process that the student they involve. They also, for the learning online, engagement entails the mindfulness, cognitive effort, and the intention. So the student, they have to pay more attention. And with the engagement growth like this, how can teacher can put the student engagement, especially with young learner? And you know, the young learner, they are very different with the very young learner. They are teenagers. Their psychology is a little bit, they are going to become the adults. So somehow they develop the physical and emotion, right? So with some ideas about engagement and with some idea about psychology, the important that the students, teacher need to design the whole lesson, how to put the student engagement through the screen. First of all, this is the lesson plan structure that the teacher need to got the very impressive beginning, and also they need to bring creativity into the lesson. Also, get students involved and think critically. And the last but not least, make a memorable ending. So the first, number 1 and number 4, that is the warmer and an ending for the lesson. Number 2 and number 3, that is the part that you are maintaining the student engagement, pushing them again the engagement. So number 1, the student, they have some level of engagement, but how you can activate their engagement, that's really important. And how you can make the impressive beginning, that's really important. Some teacher may say, I spend so much time on the warmer, and it takes longer than my expectation, so somehow I don't have enough time for my main lesson. So usually I skip the warmer or beginning. Or some teachers say, because the warmer isn't really important to the lesson, so I just go right away to the main section. But the point is, you need to balance your lesson, because if you make an impressive beginning, you activate the student warm engagement. So how to make an impressive beginning? First of all, you need to grab the student attention. You need to stimulate the interest. You make them laugh, and you set a challenge task. And then again, I agree with you on the warmer shouldn't take too long, it's about 5 to 10 minutes, but they need to get on the characteristics. And I will show you some example for how you can grab the student attention, how you stimulate the interest, and how you make a laugh. So this is an example that from the solution book. If you are using the solution book with the pre-intermediate, the level, pre-intermediate, and the lesson will be 2C. That's about eating now, right? So how can I start off the lesson with really impressive one? I will let the student to do an activity, and the activity is secret message code. Before I let the student join into the activity, because they are teenagers, they like something competitive and they want to compete the other, and they get more attention when you let them to do something with a purpose. So I telling them that you are working in team, and each team will have the horse here and try the color. If they can answer the correct answer, they will move the heart to the end, and who can move the heart to the end will be the winner. And this is the aim with the activity. So I will show the student this code, alphabet letter code, and I want the student to try to find out what is the secret code here. So let's play the game together, guys. I will show you a secret, and you tell me what food is it, okay? Are you ready? Go. Okay. Number 7, egg. No, this is the whole letter here for the one food. So 3 will be C, curry. Catherine, you got the correct curry. Yes. So the correct answer is curry. Yeah. Good. So let's try to move on. So if the student, they have the correct answer like this, they got the chance to move the heart. For example, the group 1, so they can choose the house they want. So let's move. Yeah, so they can move to the house they want to choose. For example, the second one, what is the secret food here? Salads, yeah, Terry, wow, very good. So eat the salad. And then continue, they will continue to move the horse, and if they are the team to got the correct answer, they keep moving the horse to the end. And now next one, will be longer. Sandwich, yeah, very good. Okay, so how can a teacher got time to design that secret food or the method that they want the student to get involved and think? And you gotta remember that this is your teenager student and they want something with problem that they can solve. So that's easy. If you guys can come over to the link here with the letter, number, code, and you can type whatever thing you want with the alphabet code for 1, 2, 3 for ABC. Or if you start the alphabet code with 1, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. So let's try 1, 2, 3 for ABC. So if I say banana, and this is the secret code that the student, they can create their own one. So if you have a time, you can let the student to open this link and then they can type their secret food and then they will share with their partner. And in about 30 seconds, if the partner can get the answer, they can win the point. And the reason why you let the student do it, because you want them to create their own one. And most of the students, they enjoy by doing things, showing things that they are doing it and they enjoy that, that's in my question and my friend can answer my question. Sometimes because the kid is really challenged, they like something challenged, right? So this is the link that you can use to create whatever topic you're using with the secret code like this. And after this one, you let the student to do a discussion. Okay, so you guys can see that today we're talking about lots of different kind of food. So the salad, curry, or sandwich. So where can you get the food? Because of food, do you enjoy eating now? So the lesson is about eating now. So the students say, oh, you can get it at the restaurant. You can buy it at the food stand or a food court. And then, okay, we call that eating now. So do you enjoy eating now? So you can let the student to look in the breakout room, let them to discuss, and they can share why they like it and do they enjoy it. If you have a time, you can let the student to do more discussion about what kind of food you want to talk about. So this is a similar, the very easy warmer, and it doesn't take too long to do it. For the second example that I am showing you here to have the student attention and stimulate their interest, so that is the same as the lesson that you are doing. It's about food eating now too. For this part, the student, they are going to do one really good tune that, here we come. That's very easy for you, and because maybe the internet is very slow, so I will try to do it. If you can do it, we can play a game. If not, we just send some answer in the chat spot. But sometimes if you let the student to do like Kahoot or Quizlet, so this is the pool everywhere. So you can see here. So pool everywhere is really good app that you can use to create your open-ended question, your word cloud, your multiple choice, and also your competition. So this is similar the idea that you let the student to join into a Kahoot game, but then they have to answer quickly and try to find out who is the winner. So here, for example, the answers will, the question is, what country is the miso soup popular? And the student, they got the link, and then they are joining to the link and try to answer. Yeah, Japan. So if they click Japan, so here, if they click Japan, that would be the correct answer. Show up here. Yeah, right? And who is the leader? So got 1, 2, 3 people. Or the second question, what food below is from French? And then student got the time to look at the answers and they have to answer in about 16 seconds. So got a time limit for each answer too. So after each answer, they will move on and they will stop the poll, and you can see the result from the screen easily after the poll ends. So got 1 more second left, and then, all right, so that's done with 9. So you can see here with the answer, chocolate mouse moose. And who is the leader? Yeah, see? So it's similar with the Kahoot, but the way here you can do it will be easy. Why it's easy? Because if you are doing Kahoot, you have to create sometime on the second device, and you have to open another tab, and you let the student to open the second device. But however, for Pool Everywhere, you can install it right away in your Google Slide, or you can download it and you can install your Windows PowerPoint. And here is some guideline that you can install it right away. If you click the link Poll Everywhere, and you can see Google Slide and insert. And when you insert the Google Slide, it will appear right away here, Pool Everywhere. And when you do Pool Everywhere, you can click Pool Everywhere. They got the multiple choice, quick, great, fun, question and answer, survey, or competition. And it's really easy for you because it's already in your slide. You don't need to move on another tab, or you don't need to open another website, because you can see from my main presentation is right here, right? If I want to got the new thing, I just come to Pool Everywhere new activity, and I create a multiple choice answers, or word cloud here, or question and answers. So I can do everything right away in my slide. And I don't need to save it somewhere else, and I don't need to open it somewhere else. So it's really hard for you to remember. So it's the website called Pool Everywhere. And all you can do is just sign up, register your email and password, and install it in the Google Slide. It's just right away here on your slide. So you don't need to worry about it, and it's easy to insert to your slide. So for example, if I insert another slide, I just go, I just go to the activity here, and I click here, and then I insert slide. And then they will have your code and everything, right? So here, and I got QR code, and I got the link for you to do. All right, because we don't have enough time, so I will move a little bit faster for the warmer. Then last but not least, you need to got the students some challenging tasks to make them engage, to make them think why I have to learn this lesson and why I have to do this one. Because the student with the teenager, they like to reason, think in the abstract way. They want to share some opinion or idea, and they want to show up with the partner. So this is another thing that you can do for your warmer with the mind map. This website is also really easy to use. All you can do is register your name and then password, and then you can create and many different kinds of the map, and let the student, okay, you got a minute to think about 1, 2, or 3. And then student can answer here. They can click right here to add more for the map. Yeah, and if you can see here with the main function, they got many different kind of map. So posting the student from the beginning, they activate their student engagement. So how you maintain the student engagement and how you keep the student engagement, that's really important for the main part of the lesson. So this is the second part that my partner today will share with you some tip and activity that you can maintain the student engagement. So over to your Zoom mic.
All right, hello everybody. Hello, nice to see you. Let me go ahead and try and share my screen. There we go. All right, so we're gonna talk about bringing creativity into the classroom, and we're also gonna talk about critical thinking and why these are important. So you can just go ahead, and I'm curious to know what you think. If you want to go ahead and write in the chat box, why is creativity so important for our students? I can't make the chat box show up on my computer. That's a problem.
You go back to stop share and then participation. You can see the chat and then open it.
Share.
And just, yeah.
Chat. Oh, so okay. All right, so I see problem solving, creating curiosity, making the lesson more exciting and fun. Yes, of course, these are all really good reasons. I'm gonna share with you some of the ones that oh, here we go. Helping engaged, good. Freedom to express, these are all great answers. Curiosity. I'm gonna share some of the ones that I have. So the first one I have, which, not that, sorry. So the first one I had, which some of you said as well, was problem solving. All right, so we know problem solving is important because we know that life is complicated, and by encouraging our students to exist within a creative learning environment, we're giving them a chance to look at problems from more than one perspective, right? In order to be successful, they need to not just be looking at everything with a very linear approach. So we want to avoid that. The next one that I came up with is novelty. All right, we know novelty is important. Scientifically, our brain focuses on new things. So if we want to keep our students' attention, we need to give them something new. Our brain automatically focuses on new things to make sure that they're safe. And once it does that, it's captured their attention. All right, next we have confidence. All right, so failure is a natural part of creativity. And by having our students learn how to cope with failure, we're actually making them more confident, all right? Adult success, with the way that the world is going, you know, so many jobs are becoming automated, and we want to, our goal as teachers is to prepare our students for the future. And so many jobs are automated. Take IT, for example. You know, anyone can write code nowadays. Not most people, but anyone that wants to be in IT can write code, but employers don't want someone that can just write code. They want someone that can dream up new ideas to solve problems using that code. Social and emotional well-being. Being creative within groups of students, for our students, is so helpful for them because it lets them, I'll get to that. Social and emotional well-being is important because our students have the opportunity to be creative around their friends and express themselves. And it lets them be proud of their ideas in front of their friends, and it helps them deal with their friends' ideas as well. All right, and then academic success. We know that while knowledge is limited to one's skills, creativity has no boundaries. So creative students are often able to solve problems beyond their skill set by looking at things from a very different perspective. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through a bunch of different activities that kind of build on top of each other, and they're all scaffolded on top of each other in order to kind of walk them through the creative process and how can we take our typical learning steps and use them to be creative. All right, so the first step I had was identify. So the first thing we do as teachers is we present new vocabulary on a topic, and we want our students to be able to identify what those words mean. So how can we use technology to help our students identify those words? One idea that I had is students can make their own flashcards. So after you present your topic, you could have your students take their phones, take a smartphone, and go around, find that target language within their environment and make their own flashcards. So I made an example right over here. So I made an example over here, and my topic was COVID-19. So go ahead and in the chat box, which word, so the topic for my lesson, my imaginary lesson was COVID-19. Go ahead in the chat box, which word do you think this might be? Soap, virus. Any ideas, guys? Mask, this is definitely not a mask. All right, so this particular word, this is wet wipes. Good, cleaning wipes, I wrote disinfectant wipes. Good, all right, so perfect. So I got it right. All right, the next one, a little bit easier as well. Hand sanitizer, perfect. All right, this one, easy. Mask, good. Face mask. Oh, okay, now we're getting a little more abstract. So the idea of this is we want to teach our students about creativity, right? That they can be more abstract with some of these ideas. Not everything is just something you can pick up and hold. And we're teaching them to be creative by having to find these things. Perfect, I see lockdown, awesome. All right, this one's a little bit funny. You can kind of see me behind the door. Any ideas? Quarantine, there you go, quarantine, right? So we're teaching them the difference between what is quarantine, what is lockdown. All right, and the last one. Social distancing, perfect. Awesome. So we've identified them, and how can you actually use this in class though, right? So there are a few ways you could actually use something like that in class. You could make it a homework assignment and then the students present it in class. And this is great because it will help them consolidate the language by letting them see each other student's examples of the words. So you're seeing more than one example of lockdown or quarantine, and you're getting a better idea for what it is. You're not just looking at that one small picture, you're looking at many. The other idea is just because you're in front of a camera or in front of the webcam, in front of a computer, students don't need to just be sitting in their seats the whole time, right? So you could give them 5 or 10 minutes to stand up and go find what they can that relates to the topic inside their house. And then they can just hold their phone up to the webcam and show it. And whatever they don't find, they can use for homework. And then they also have this set of pictures that they could use to study. So after they've identified, we want to reinforce the language that they've learned. So one way you can do this is just like Lynn showed earlier with a quiz, a similar idea. You could have the students make their own quiz using those words. So I'm just gonna put it up here. You don't need to keep logging into all these different tools. This one is quizzes.com. So we can just kind of go through it. It loads. You can type in your answers. All right, so this is nice. I'm showing you a bunch of different types. This one is an open-ended question you can use. You can go ahead and type your answers in the chat box. Just like with Poll Everywhere, the students can log in. This one's nice because they can do it as homework, or you can assign it as an in-class activity and they can all compete, just like with the Poll Everywhere one or Kahoots. I see challenging, good. So this one's an open-ended question. You would actually have to go in and correct this particular question yourself. I'm gonna say fun. So what is it called when a business when businesses close and people can't go outside? All right, so again, we're using those words that they've just studied. Perfect, lockdown. All right, we're using those words that they've just studied, and you can do this a bunch of different ways that you can make this to challenge the students, or the students can make it themselves. What can you use to make sure you stay safe from COVID-19? See, hand sanitizer. Now you can have them choose more than one answer, right? We want to use all of our words or as many as we can. All right, and then the last question. You should always wear a face mask. Good. Awesome. All right, so the nice part about something like that is there are, again, just like with making your own flashcards, there are so many ways you can use this in a class. The teacher can make a quiz for the students, and the students can either do it as an in-class activity or they can be assigned as homework. The students can work in groups. You can put them in a breakout room and one student can share their screen. They can work in groups to make their own quiz based off the topic and having to use the words. And the nice part is you can actually insert the pictures that they've taken in the previous activity to do this. And you can also use it as a review activity. So it doesn't have to be just on one topic. You could wait till the end of the course and do this and give each group a topic that they might have learned in class, a different topic, and each group can make a quiz on a different topic that they've learned throughout the course and present that. So this can be, this is engaging because they're working together. You can put them in a breakout room. One can share their screen and they're all able to collaborate on this. All right, and the last part about creativity I had was contextualize. So you've taught them the words, you're making sure they understand the basic meaning of the words, and now we want to make sure that they understand how is the target language used in real life. So something they can do is they can make a comic about this, and this one is really nice. This website is so easy to use, you know, down to 8 or 9 years old, and all the way up to teenagers could use this one. I made an example using all of the target language. So you can make your own comic. This takes about 10 or 15 minutes. So you can see, use the vocabulary words, COVID-19, hand sanitizer, face mask, all right? And they're working together. Again, one student can share their screen, they can talk about how to use it. This might be more text than your students might use, but they're able to actually show that they know how these words are used in real life. This one is makebeliefscomics.com. This is such an easy tool to use. Let's see real quick if we can just to give you an idea of how easy it is. All you do is you don't need to, the nice part is also you can use this with all ages because students don't need to register or log in or anything. You just go to the website and you begin. So you start, let's see. You can start, you just choose a background. If it loads, it takes a minute to load. You choose a background, and then you just click and drop. And all those characters, all the other things, you just click and drop. You can make it bigger, smaller, move it around. There's only 4 tools, so all ages can really use this. That's what makes this one so nice. So we've got through kind of the creativity part, and we understand creativity and critical thinking kind of blend together. You kind of have to be creative in order to be a critical thinker, in order to look at things from many different perspectives. So getting students to think critically, part of what this is a personal connection. So we want to know, like, all of these kind of answer basic questions. So personal connections, kind of, what do the words mean to me? So when we're getting students to think critically, we want them to understand what does the topic actually mean to them, and how can they use that topic? How can they use that knowledge in their life? Problem solving, so how are these words and the topic going to help them? Reflection, how do they feel about the topic? So part of critical thinking is understanding, okay, like now I've learned about COVID-19, how does it make me feel? What are my thoughts about it? And that also goes with independence as well. And then action, so what are they going to do now that they know this knowledge? How are they actually going to use it? So again, I came up with 3 activities that kind of build off each other. So the next one was expand your mind. So Lynn showed a mind map before. We can kind of show it again. It's a different website, but it's the same kind of thought process. So now that they've learned a few words and they've learned the general idea of the topic, you can kind of go ahead and add in other information that they know or might want to know. You can help them do that. And that can be kind of done as a class discussion. So you could do something like a mind map, and then you could start with, as a class discussion, everyone's there in class, COVID-19, right? And then you can come up with a few topics and the students can kind of build off that, and you can begin eliciting from them. So you could say things you do, things you wear, and maybe places, and things you don't do. All right, so we've done some things you wear. Then you can start eliciting places. So places. Where might you go if you get sick? The hospital, a quarantine camp, things like that. Of course, this is a pretty abstract topic that might be a little higher level than you'll be teaching your students, but just as an example. And you can do that as a class discussion. All right, so they've expanded their mind. They've taken the knowledge you've learned, you've taught them. They've taken the knowledge that they've wanted to be taught and that you've also helped them to expand on that topic. And now kind of a controlled way to use it in real life. So another idea that I had is how to actually put it to use. So there's this website called Flipgrid, which is really great. It's a video website. And I had an idea that the way they could do this, the students can do this, was think of a problem you have. Do you want a new smartphone, but you can't afford it? Or are you putting on weight because all the gyms are closed? It can be anything. So you have the students record a 30-second video and ask for advice. And then after they record their video, they can reply to someone and give them advice. So I made a quick 30-second video asking for advice about, again, coronavirus, because that's my imaginary topic for the day. I really need your help.
Oh, I just don't know what to do. Because of the social distancing situation in Ho Chi Minh City, I haven't been able to go to the gym. They're all on lockdown. And when I do leave the apartment, I need to wear a face mask too. It's really frustrating because...
All right, so I presented my problem. The students can do that, again, as homework. It takes just a few minutes, and all you need is an email address to log in. And then the nice part is students can reply directly.
Hi, Michael. I'm really sorry to hear about your problem. This lockdown has been difficult for me too, but I think I have some good advice for you. Lucky for you, you already have exactly what you need, your body. First, I think you should research some good body weight exercises online. Some that work really well for me are...
All right, so you can see the students can directly reply to videos, and the way you can actually use this within your class is you can pull up the advice that students gave, because theoretically each video is only going to get 1 or 2 replies, and you can ask for more advice, or is this good advice, is this bad advice, things like that. So you can use this to launch into a class discussion. It doesn't have to just be answering and replying. Another way you can use this, there's a million ways you could use this. You could use this for IELTS and things like that. But another way you could use this, not so much as critical thinking, but a great idea for pronunciation. I saw someone ask earlier about pronunciation. Is you could do a tongue twister challenge. So make a tongue twister, record yourself, and they have this kind of instructions on how to make a tongue twister. And then the students can record themselves doing the tongue twister. It's quite hard.
Mischievous Mike makes many milkshakes. Mischievous Mike Mischievous Mike makes many milkshakes. Mischievous Mike Mischievous Mike makes many milkshakes. Mischievous Mike makes many milkshakes. Mischievous Mike.
So you can see, so you can use this a bunch of different ways, right? And then again, students will go in, they'll make a tongue twister, and then they can go ahead and they have to like another student's tongue twister that they like the most. So how would you actually use this in class? This part, the video part, of course, might be a homework assignment, but then afterwards in class to practice pronunciation, you can take some of these tongue twisters that they've made themselves and they've kind of built a connection with, and you can challenge other students to practice them. All right, and then the final step is form an opinion. All right, so now that they've learned all these words, they've tested them, they can use the words, they've been able to show that they can use it in a real life context. What are they actually going to do with them? They're going to form an opinion. So there's another great tool you can use to launch into a class discussion. Again, a lot of this critical thinking stuff is to bring up class discussions. There's another great website called Kialo. And the way Kialo works is that you post, I should log in. So the way Kialo works is that you post a thesis, you post an idea, a statement, and the students decide, give a pro or a con. So the students will go in and they'll type, again, our imaginary topic, COVID-19. But the students can go in and they can type either a pro, they agree, or a con, they disagree. And then you can, again, this will make them come up with an opinion on how they actually feel about the topic that you're discussing. So the point with all of these activities isn't necessarily do them in one class. They can be spread throughout many, but they each build on each other to kind of walk them through all the steps of how can they be creative and engaged with the actual material that they're teaching them, and how can we walk them through the point where they're actually forming an opinion on those. Lynn.
Yes.
All right, so we'll move on to making a memorable ending, and I think Lynn's gonna finish it off there.
Oh, okay. So let me close on the stuff here. So hopefully that you guys can see clearly about the screen, not with the black spot. Thank you so much, Mike. Mike shared a lots of idea about you guys mentoring and keep the student up with the engagement. But one thing that you should remember when you design a lesson plan or try to have the student engage with the whole lesson, that you need to got the memorable ending. Some teachers just try to spend time on the warmer and for the structure with the main part, and then because of the time rush, so they just okay, time's up and homework 8, and they forget to say goodbye to the student, to wrap up what they learned today, or even to some idea for the student to look forward after the class. Then, for example, keep going to do things with like Mike just shared about Flipscript or Kiolo. At home, you guys have to create the video talking about how you can survive for the lockdown section, or about growing corn for the lockdown. And then after that, they will share, bring it up, and that can be the next fall warmer. And then people will discuss, and they can do the set challenge too. And you can do a review with the lesson with like, okay, tell me one thing that you learned or you remember from the class today, or one word you want to remember, or will you use it after the class done? And show me things that you achieved for the whole lesson for maybe an hour or 2 hour class, or what you think is the best for you. And there are lots of things that you can come up with using the classroom screen or class tool that you can assign the student with more activity they can do at home. So remember that start up with the really impressive beginning to activate the student engagement, and then maintain the student engagement for the main part of the lesson, and then keep it up for the next lesson and ready to learn with you again. And they're ready to see you again for the next day, curious what are you going to do and what do you bring to them, and they want to learn more with you. And then that's all for the whole thing that the teacher needs to like see the student again and happy with what they doing with them. Okay, so I think that's all for our sharing with the webinar today. So maybe got say some time left for the Q&A question. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I am pleased to answer. So thank you so much, guys. And I think Mike, please help me to share the last screen with some reference. That's some reference about the theory, about some website that we use, and some more that we can come up with, that the website for Kiolos or for Flipscript or for MindMap, anything else. Okay, so time for the question. You want to add anything else more, Mike?
I'm mute. Need to turn my video back on. No, thank you everybody for joining us.
Okay.
So yeah, if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
I got a question here with from the anonymous attendees. Say, my class are mixed ability and most of them are young learner. How would I use the technology to engage them? They mostly don't know what to do with the device. Like as I shared with you a little bit, when you do the online teaching and learning, basically as a student, they need to got a basic technical skill. If they don't know anything, you maybe give them a tour, have them a little bit for showing them what you are doing and showing them what function that they need to use. And at least train them a little bit. For next or the second day of the class, they know that you're doing that and they will get better. And they're using their laptop with the internet connected. And I think it would be easy. They just open another tab and copy and paste. So the link will work and they can like live show with on the answers or on the question you want to share. So I think that may help. Yeah. So any different questions? Okay.
Lynn, there are some questions about the mind map that you shared earlier and the call everywhere. Is it free for unlimited participants?
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. The mind map is free. Let me share. Can I stop your question in a Q&A and share them the mind map a little bit?
Okay.
Yeah, I think every website we showed today is it's all has a free version that has pretty much everything you should need. And Some of them you don't even need to log in for. So most of them should be extremely easy for your students to access.
So this is the mind map I just shared in my warmer. So you can say mymatters.com, and all you can do is just register your emails and then set a password for this, and then you can create a mind map, and you can share with the student by copy the link, and the student will copy and paste to the new tab of the internet website, and then can open it and then can add it. Or you can do on the Facebook, or you can publish your map. Everybody can do at the same time. Or even you can embed it into Google Slide, and then you can share with all the students. So it's same with idea mind map that might include with the question. It's free too. And here is the many different kinds of mind map. So here you can just like register your emails, and you can have this type of map. Okay. Maybe later. Yeah, so here we'll got new mind map, and then come up with what you want to do, and you can open up and create your own mind map, and with color, with pictures, yeah, with everything you can need. Even though it will be super easy that if you have a file for your map already, you can import the file and then share on the screen. Yeah. Okay.
And there's another question. So with these tools you are providing, students should only use laptop or desktop. It's tough or impossible to use the phone, which most of students use for online learning. So what is your suggestions if you're the student using phone instead of laptop or desktops?
If your student are teenagers, I think they will have the laptop or desktop connect with the internet better than with adult, because adult they will have phone. And again, if the student are good at technical skill at phone, they can use phone. So as long as you can find a good way to work well with your student. And again, laptop and desktop is better because it connects easier and faster, and then don't get a lot of distraction, because somehow they're using phone, they have to take a look for their phone, and then they try to find out and they don't focus on the screen. So I'll keep this attention on the screen, so it will be easier for you.
Thanks. Another question is, this is a very interesting question. When students get distracted, what is the polite way to have them back? I feel quite powerless when keep saying, can I have your attention, please?
Mike, do you want to share the answer to this?
Sorry, I had trouble hearing that. Could you say that again, Miss? I was trying to find that. I can't find it. Can you repeat that question?
Yes, a teacher want to ask if is there any way or is it polite way to have the student pay attention. For example, they say that they feel powerless when they say, can I have your attention?
I guess that depends on the age of the students. So for young learners, I actually use a lot of the same things I would use in a real class. I'll just count 3, 2, 1. I actually use that with teens too, and it works. So anything that really gets their attention. For younger learners, I'll stop for a second and do like a quick game of Simon Says. Everybody touch your head, touch your shoulders, something like that, something that's getting them to be active. And then you immediately have their attention. It takes a minute or two, and then you can get back to the lesson. For older students, to get their attention, I find that really just going, all right, guys, 3, 2, 1, that's really all you need to keep their attention. But the thing is, to be honest, most of those problems